You actually talked about this topic on October 27th, 2017 on the Breakfast Club. I just watched an interview last night. You were talking about how Kaepernick at the time was being vilified.
That's
and turned
right.
into, I mean, literally, like, you couldn't be more right as of today. Not of today, but, you know, this past couple months.
You've
like,
been woke.
Yeah, you've been on this way for a long time. I mean, it's incredible, but you were, like, very outspoken about it from very early on.
We got killed for it, too.
Really?
Yeah. Which I'm happy to. I mean, it's not like we were martyrs. It just was like, are you kidding me? Like, if you don't get this, and this is years ago when all that stuff went down. Eric Garner died right in our city, and it turned everything upside down. And we were just like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, of course, Black Lives Matter. Of course, Colin Kaepernick is not anti-America.
Right.
That, I mean, the media don't want to play the soldiers that would sit there and say, that's why I'm in a wheelchair. So that man could do that.
Yep.
But I have a belief that humans deserve dignity, and especially when it comes to race, you cannot say you're a Christian and have some of this stuff hanging around your life. And I'll give you this. I don't want to overtalk. I'm having fun though. I don't know what
You're the guest.
Please talk as much as you want.
So we have like a three-step plan. It's really simple for people who want to just rid their lives of racism. It's really simple. You have to treat it like COVID. Okay, can you imagine if our country attacked racism like we did that virus?
Like you see someone without a mask in a store.
Well,
you're like,
three
hey,
steps. Ready?
Okay.
Number one, assume everybody has it. Remember that when COVID first came out? It was like, oh my gosh, I got to go home, check my own self. I got to take my temperature. Like, the first part of battling this is to look in before you judge out. So assume everybody has it. Number two, listen to the experts. Like, when COVID hit in New York, we lost thousands of people, but I watched every day. I had like a satellite with like the governor, the mayor. I was listening to random dark web things about the virus. Like, I was voraciously destroying information so I could learn. If people do that, even your viewers who are like, okay, I'm going to assume I have this thing called racism. I'm going to listen to experts. Listen to people who don't support what you support. White people got to stop telling other white people how to not be racist. Right? You're going to have to listen to people who might shock you. Yeah. And then thirdly, you have to completely be willing to change your entire life to eradicate it. Because that's what we've done with COVID. We shut down our whole economy. That will affect us for like decades and decades because we're so weary of this virus. That's what you have to do with something like racism.
That last one's tricky for a lot of older folks, especially older folks in the South. Bro, I grew up in Virginia, capital of the Confederacy, so I get it.
Yep.
I've seen videos of, and this kind of stuff breaks my heart because besides the fact that racism is so deep rooted in this country, it's so deep rooted in people. I saw this TikTok of this Generation Z, a young lady, arguing with her father, who's very clearly a racist. And she's like, "Oh, this isn't right. This is systemic racism."
I saw that.
I saw that too. It went viral.
It just breaks my heart because the kids are now more woke and morally sound than the adults. And we said this on this podcast before too. I really do believe millennials and Generation Z, and you kind of said it too, we will win. We will win this shit.
Yeah.
The racists will be eradicated. Hate will be eradicated. Hopefully for the most part.
Right.
But if we just keep fighting the good fight, and we're going to rely on the people, the audience of this podcast and the audience of this podcast when they have kids to keep perpetuating this message.
Right.
Eventually, 50 years from now, hopefully 100 years from now, we will be a morally sound community. We will act as one, unity as a human race. Yeah, it's cool. It's not a utopia, but it's a cool wave to be a part of.
Think about the guy who killed Ahmaud Arbery, right? He was raised by parents from the Jim Crow era. So that man who shot him, he had parents. So he was raised in a culture where his parents would have taught him that black people were subhuman.
What would Jesus say to that guy?
Which guy?
No. Okay, so wait, this is crazy. But I'd put money that those dudes are Christian.
No, of course, I'm sure they
would claim to be.
We have such.
That's what I'm saying.
But that to me has never deterred me though from being a Christian, because when has that not happened to everything that matters?
Yeah.
Like the presence of bad cannot negate good. Like some planes crash, some CEOs cheat, some YouTubers are absolute clowns. But some are geniuses, right? Yep. So I just refuse to ever let the narrative be like, because there's bad Christians. Nobody does that with any other genre of life. No one, only with Christianity. No one goes to a bad movie and they're like, I'm never doing movies again.
You make a good point.
No one goes to a restaurant, has a bad meal and goes, food's done forever. No, you go to the next one. But it's a very convenient thing to say, no, I've been to 4 churches and they all sucked. Really? If there's something deeper here, you might want to go to restaurant number
5.